You know, I do the weave. You know what the weave is? I'll talk about like 9 different things and they all come back brilliantly together. And it's like, and friends of mine that are like English professors, they say, it's the most brilliant thing I've ever seen. But the fake news, you know what they say? He rambled. That's not rambling.
During a recent rally, Donald Trump wanted to make sure that you know that he is not a rambler. He's not a rambling man, okay? In fact, the way he speaks is kind of brilliant. He's doing the weaving, and then it all comes together. Now, there's a 0% chance that Trump has any friends that are English teachers. Let's get that out of the way. That's
English
number one.
professors, and he has so many of them that his English professor friends keep telling him, "Oh, I do declare, I really wanted to give you credit for the amazing weave you were doing."
Lots of weaving.
They actually usually English professors apparently have to have that accent, and they apparently teach that in their syllabus. You know, if you want to tell an effective story, what you do is go off on a lot of tangents and never come back to them. And we call them the weave, so no one can keep up with you. We teach it in all the English classes.
It is the mark of a fantastic storyteller. And in fact, Trump continues to explain just how brilliant his technique is in the next clip.
When you have, what you do is you get off a subject to mention another little tidbit, then you get back onto the subject, and you go through this and you do it for 2 hours, and you don't even mispronounce one word. And they say he had 100,000 people. You know, in New Jersey, we had 107,000 people. They never like to report it, so I say it. But in Wildwood, New Jersey, they announced 107,000 people. And then they say, well, look at this. I mean, if you gave me a big arena, we would have said 45,000 people or something. But it is rather brilliant. But they say, yes, he rambled.
Okay, I have a lot to say. So look, I actually think that to some extent, his speaking style is effective, but there's also a huge downside that he's not taking into account. So what do I mean when I say his speaking style is effective? Well, he speaks like a common person, right? Like he doesn't have this professorial way of communicating with people, and that leads people to think that he is more authentic, right? He's a real person, he's authentic. So when it comes to that, I don't really think he needs to get defensive or defend himself. But there's a huge downside to him kind of going off on all these tangents. And it's that sometimes he'll say something that sounds really bad or really provocative. And then he'll go off message and talk about something else and then go back to the provocative thing and kind of explain himself, which opens up an opportunity for him to be taken out of context because it's very easy to take him out of context. That's happened a million times before. So now whenever the media is like freaking out about something he said, I feel like I definitely need to go back and watch the entire rally speech so I can understand what he meant in context. But yeah, this whole like I speak brilliantly and all the English professors are super proud of how brilliant I am in my communication style. There's a downside for you, Trump, and you should be aware of that.
Yeah, there's 2 downsides. Look, I agree on the upside. It gives you the aura of authenticity without actually having to be honest. And that's a huge advantage for him. And the Adam Schiffs of the world are never going to understand that. The Democrats drive me crazy by sounding way too professorial because they probably do actually have English professors as friends. But you've got to speak like a normal person. What's wrong with you? But then Trump, come on, brother. So he's always rambled. He's always gone off point. But now it's at a different level. That's why I was saying it's the mumbler versus the rambler, right? And he's been rambling out of control in this cycle. And you can see him starting to deteriorate. And that's what's really getting under his skin, the fact that he's doing that. In fact, in the middle of doing that little spiel right there, he was like, no, they say that I'm rambling, but I'm not rambling. Like when I was in Wildwood, New Jersey, and I had a big crowd size, 107,000 people, and they always lie about that, but I say it, you just did it. You went off point to talk about your crowd size and never got back to your original point. So this is not like, I'm weaving it, and I'm doing it on purpose. Nobody thinks you're doing it on purpose other than like diehard MAGA, and you could like you could slap him across the face and tell him you did it because you like him so much or you were stroking them like a pet. And they'd be like, yes, I'm Trump's pet, yes, right? But other than those folks who are like deep in your cult, no one believes you. You sound ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, look, he doesn't like to read off a teleprompter. He likes to speak off the cuff, and he does so for an extended period of time. And you're right, he loses his focus and goes off on a million tangents. In fact, here's an example.
And you know, when I was running that, I spoke to the leader of the Taliban. They run the whole deal. And I said, Abdul, don't even think. Don't do it, Abdul. Don't do it. Because they were killing our people. And they were really killing them previous to me and Obama. They were killing them in the Obama administration and with Biden. But how did he do in the debate? A friend of mine said, sir, what did you do? I said, how good was I tonight? Sir, you probably got him thrown out. Now you're going to have to run against somebody new. I said, I don't care. I have to do what I have to do. We have to do what we have to do, right? And I look forward to the debate with her. But what happened, so with Afghanistan, you know, I do the weave.
Don't do it, don't do it. Wait, we were talking about the Taliban, what happened? Now we're talking about the debate, but he went back to it. He did weave.
Okay,
he did weave.
That was a successful weave. We're the fairest show in America. Okay, I do this thing called the weave. Nobody calls it the weave. It's not a thing, you just made it up. Except for the fact that I'll now start calling it the weave every time I go off point.
No, I mean, look, the weave is a little bit brilliant and like is now gonna be stuck in our heads. But I do want to go to one other compilation of Donald Trump and his speaking style.
Don't do it, Abdul.
Don't
do it, Abdul. I told Abdul.
Don't. But honestly, like that way of speaking, I don't think he should get rid of. But he needs to be more focused on his message rather than going in and out of like various topics, and you lose track of what he's talking about.
I speak for 2 hours, won't mispronounce one word, like oranges. I mean oranges. I mean oranges. I mean origins.
Okay, so here is a compilation of Trump making bing bong sounds.
Bing, 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 bong, bong. Bing, bing, bong, bong, bing, bing, bing. Bing, 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 bong. Bing, 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 bong.
I just really appreciate that.
Wasn't that a character in Inside Out? Bing bong. Anyway, look, that part I'm with Anna. I think it's funny that he does bing bong. His audience loves it.
Right.
I'm fine with that. It makes him seem like a more real person. Like this making things up, like the weave, is weird, right?
Yeah, but losing
doing
focus,
this stuff, I do the weave.
Yeah, losing focus and forgetting what you're talking about is not a brilliant strategy.
No,
he
never intended it as a strategy. He just can't help himself.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
But now he can't help himself in rambling off point and making the speeches more dull. And even the Republicans are saying, hey man, you're losing your touch. We can't even tell what you're talking about.
That happened at the RNC.
And it's getting boring.
Yeah, that happened at the RNC. I mean, his RNC speech, he started on script, and then he decided to go off script. The speech was way too long, and the second half of it was, you know, what you would expect at a Trump rally, where he loses focus, he goes in and out of whatever topic he's discussing, he goes off on tangents. Not smart. English professors not happy with it.
And look, he can't help respond to every charge. So we call him the Rambler, or I call him the Rambler. The other people say he's rambling, and then he goes, "I'm not rambling. I'm not rambling. I'm weaving." Well, overall, last thing I'd say to Trump is, "Don't do it, Abdul.
Don't do it.
Don't do it." Okay.
I'm amused at the thought that you go to like a Taliban leader and you just, don't do it, Abdul. Don't do it.
And I'm amused at that, like the Taliban guy's gonna be like,
oh, okay.
Oh, he said don't do it, that'll do it. No, you have to, it's a negotiation. He doesn't care what you say. He cares about the things that you're offering as carrots and sticks.
Yep.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.